Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the DC Arts Center. For those of you who may not be familiar with our institution, we are proud to be one of the only organizations in DC and the surrounding area committed to fostering underrepresented artists in every discipline. It's such a pleasure to host all of you here today in a space that embodies the power of the arts to inspire, connect, and uplift our community. First, I'd like to acknowledge and thank Mayor Bowser, Deputy Mayor Albert, and Councilmember McDuffie for their leadership and advancement of initiatives like the Great Streets Grant, one that recognizes the importance of investing in both businesses and nonprofit businesses such as ours. A special thanks also to Liz Anderson and Kavya Balaji from the Great Streets team for their incredible work in ensuring that these resources reach organizations that make a difference in our neighborhoods. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize Philip Barlow, President of the Board of Directors here at the DC Arts Center, for his steadfast support and dedication to our mission. I'd also like to thank our team here at DCAC, who helped make today possible for everyone, and to Kristen Barden, Executive Director of the Adams-Morgan Partnership Bid. Thank you for your tireless advocacy for this community and for always working to ensure Adams-Morgan remains a vibrant and welcoming place for all. Today, we're celebrating so many businesses and organizations, and for us here at the DC Arts Center, a powerful idea that businesses and nonprofits are partners in driving the greater economy of DC. While their structures may certainly differ, their impact is equally transformative. Nonprofits like ours create jobs, bring people together, and foster a sense of belonging as a stabilizing cultural institution here in Ward 1. And all of you here today do the same, anchoring our neighborhoods and fueling economic growth. Together, we drive diverse communities where people want to live, work, and, dare I say, most importantly, create. The Great Streets Grant has not only completely transformed our building, it has allowed us to serve our community in once unbelievable ways. This year alone, the Great Streets Grant has allowed us to host 13 exhibitions in our galleries, serve over 150 local artists, sell over $20,000 of art made by local DC artists, with nearly 100% of those funds going directly back to the artists themselves. And it has allowed us to host over 226 workshops, performances, or rehearsals in our Black Box Theater, one of the last accessible Black Box theaters here in DC. On behalf of all of us here at the DC Arts Center, thank you for this recognition of the shared value businesses and nonprofit businesses bring to our city. It's a nuance and a rare understanding that this administration should continue to be celebrated for. And thank you to everyone, our city leaders, our partners, all of you here today, and our community at large who make DC, DC. It's my privilege to now introduce a 2023 locally made recipient, Angelique Michel, CEO of Iconic Style.
Good morning, everyone. And I just have to say, this space is amazing. It's beautiful, and we love it. Okay? Yes. I am Angelique Michel. I am the CEO and co-founder of StyleX Showroom here in Washington, D.C. And what's so great about being in the city is that I'm a native Washingtonian. I went from preschool to Howard University right here in Washington, D.C. in the District of Columbia. So I am totally invested in my city. And what's so amazing is that not only am I invested in the city, but the city is invested in me. So I want to say thank you to the Great Streets, Liz Anderson and Kavya, and our beautiful, beautiful mayors, Mayor Muriel Bowser and Deputy Mayor Nina Alberts. So thank you so much for having us. Our showroom is located on 2010 Rhode Island Avenue, and what we do is so many amazing things, from styling to personal shopping to costume design for TV, film, and television, things that the city didn't have before. And so what's great about that is that now we are also into manufacturing. So what we won the grant for is to do locally made pieces, and you'll see those pieces today. And up next, we have Mayor Muriel Bowser. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Angelique, for that introduction, and congratulations on all you're doing. It's great to be here in the DC Arts Center. And it's always good to be in Adams-Morgan celebrating our local business and arts community. And we are well in the holiday spirit. and the spirit of gratitude and giving and the spirit of buying gifts and art and supporting our makers. Are we not, DC? So just a reminder to shop local. There are so many opportunities across all 8 wards. So we know that on business corridors like we're in Adams Morgan, they are filled with talented creatives and passionate residents. And we know that sometimes talent alone doesn't get the job done. And so that's where the city has stepped in with a suite of innovative grants to help our businesses grow. And since I became mayor in 2015, I'm proud that through our Great Streets Retail, locally made manufacturing, and the Neighborhood Prosperity Fund grant programs, hear this, we have awarded over $49 million to 500 businesses across D.C. 49 million. We got to challenge the deputy mayor to get to 50 million. And we have supported more than 550 businesses across D.C., including the Arts Center, as you heard. Our local business grant programs have been able to fill the gap and make a difference, and we estimate that 2,200 jobs for D.C. residents have been created. Today, we're building on that success, and we will announce $7 million more in grants to 41 more businesses, and I want to give them a big round of applause. So I also want to acknowledge the great work of the Adams Morgan BID, and we're joined by BID Director Kristen Barden. Kristen, thank you for your leadership here. I also want to acknowledge and thank the great people who support business activity and are partners to us at the council, led by Councilmember Kenya McDuffie, who chairs the Business and Economic Development Committee for the council. So with that, I am going to say thank you, creators, entrepreneurs, and I want to thank in advance your customers during this holiday season and every day. Know that as we think about the D.C. economy, there's a lot of talk about the role the federal government plays, and it's a big role. It creates a lot of jobs, but it's not the most jobs. The most jobs are created by you. Small businesses that have a great idea, who invest in the community, who hire D.C. residents, who have homes in D.C., pay D.C. taxes, take their kids to D.C. public schools, go to parks and recreation centers, go to Michelin star restaurants. That's the story of D.C. And so I'm proud to be a part of it, and I want to say thank you for your hard work. And with that, I want to acknowledge Councilmember Kenya McDuffie.
I love following that. You got me excited about that. I thank you, Mayor, and thank you to Angelique, and thank you for hosting this beautiful space here for this wonderful event. To hear the mayor rattle off why it's so important to be here in the District of Columbia, and hear Angelique to talk about the fact that she's a D.C. native, it just really makes it clear, I think apparent to those who it wasn't apparent to before, although it should have been apparent to everyone, that D.C. really is a life cycle city. You are born here, you can retire here because of all the things that we offer here in the District of Columbia. So that got me really excited. I am delighted to be here with you all today at this illustrious Arts Center celebrating the 41 awardees of an incredible grants program that are going to be issued today, and really just the positive impact that they will have on the local businesses that make our city thrive. I know you all hear it all the time that our small businesses are the backbone of our local economy. Here in the District of Columbia, we don't just talk about it, we are about it, we put our funding behind it, and I've really been privileged to work with Mayor Muriel Bowser, Deputy Mayor Nina Albert, and their teams to make sure that these grants are getting into the hands of the people who need them, and also the people who are going to help to grow our local economy, including those 41 awardees. This program really is a shining example of the district's commitment to supporting local businesses and fostering economic growth within the communities across the District of Columbia. And by expanding the eligible areas for programs like our Gray Street grants, we really are unlocking new opportunities for businesses to grow, to create jobs, employ people here in the District of Columbia, and really contribute to the vibrancy of our neighborhoods like Adams Morgan. Small businesses continue to thrive here in the District of Columbia because they get this support like the grants that are coming today. And I'm grateful to Mayor Bowser for her leadership and partnership in supporting local businesses and promoting the economic development like she is across the District of Columbia. Today's announcement of the FY24 awardees of the Great Streets Retail, Locally Made Manufacturing, and Neighborhood Prosperity Fund grant programs is a testament, I think, to our collective efforts, both from the executive and the council, as well as the private sector and our nonprofit community, to empower local businesses and strengthen our communities. As we celebrate this important milestone, I want to assure you that my commitment to supporting local business in the District of Columbia remains unwavering. So again, let's continue the advocacy for our local businesses. Let's continue to work tirelessly to create new opportunities for growth and innovation, success, whether through initiatives like the ones we are celebrating today or new ones that perhaps are in store for the future. I'm dedicated to ensuring that local businesses remain the backbone of our local economy. So once again, I'd like to congratulate all the awardees and look forward to seeing the incredible work that you all are going to do to continue the growth and the beauty of our city. So thank you, Mayor Bowser. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Nina Albert. And thank you for everybody being here today. Appreciate it. Nina Albert.
Thank you so much. My goodness, I'm like super overwhelmed by just the creativity and talent and innovation that's in this room this morning. At DemPed, we are committed to fostering an inclusive business environment where opportunity thrives in all of our 8 wards. Here in Adams Morgan, we're proud to have supported several incredible businesses through Mayor Bowser's budget investments, including Shanklin Hall, Lamont Royal, Type 5 Pub, Little Shop of Flowers, and Because Science. And I always say that a good mark of a good public investment is not just the direct grant that went to a direct business, but it's the indirect effect that it had. And Kristen just told me this morning that 10 new restaurants have opened in Adams Morgan, and that we should be incredibly proud of. As we all know, these businesses create jobs for our residents. They deliver goods and services and experiences that make our neighborhoods thrive. In fact, we are here today with a number of DC makers who are I think there's a special class of business because it's not just the retail experience that they offer, it's the production of a hard, durable good that can be consumed here in Washington, D.C., but can be shipped across the country. And so we're really excited that we've been able to support the following businesses, and I know I'm going to do an injustice because I'm not going to name all of you, but I just want to highlight a few. RK Chocolates is a family-owned chocolate shop with locations in Georgetown and Union Market. I bought a lot from there. I'm just going to admit that's a real thing. Mayor Bowser, I have been doing my shopping in D.C. And anyway, Blues Coffee and Tea Company, a black family-owned specialty coffee and tea company founded and operated in D.C. Also, Chef Benny's Seasonings, which produces a line of low-sodium seasonings to empower people to lead healthy diets and have healthy lives. Eats Place, also known as Baba's Cooking School, is a cannery that also serves as a marketplace and a shared community commercial kitchen. Femme Fatale, a black queer women-owned retail and event space in Cleveland Park, featuring the products of DC women makers. Lost Generation Brewing Company, a brewery in the Eckington neighborhood, offering up to 16 taps. I have been staying away from that place. Right Proper Brewing, which is a Shaw Brew Pub, a Brookland, my neighborhood, a production company and tap room, and plans for a 3rd location. It is a brewery known for its diverse, ever-changing selection of craft brews. And Jeline Beauty Makerspace is a co-manufacturing facility and tech hub built to lower the barriers to market entry for plant-based BIPOC beauty entrepreneurs. And we know that that market on the national scale and the global scale is enormous, and it is the demand is not yet met. And so we look forward to supporting Jeline as that space continues to grow. So please, make sure to check out all of these incredible DC makers Finally, I want to emphasize how important this time of year is, not just to all of our retail businesses, but particularly to small businesses. Mayor Bowser has been encouraging all of us to shop local for the holidays, and it's never been easier. Because DC right now just has numerous places that you can go. We talk a lot about the downtown holiday market, but there's also an Eastern Market holiday market. There's a DuPont Circle holiday market. There's a Petworth holiday market. And then, of course, all of our great streets, main streets, and retail corridors. Many of our neighborhoods have been hosting these celebrations, and keep it up, because you might have heard about this and that, but it continues to evolve and more is being offered. And so particularly at the National Building Museum, this coming week, we're going to be revealing and opening the ice skating rink for the first time. So there are lots of things. Keep it up. Keep checking out your apps and seeing what's going on down there. And then lastly, but not least, reach out to your local Main Street or Business Improvement District and find out what's happening this holiday season.
Okay. Any questions? Questions?
Mayor, Rebecca with
Rebecca, I see you.
Some questions, if I can ask an on-topic first. Can you talk about the importance of these grants and what kind of difference you hope they make?
Well, I think they've made a very significant difference. Our Great Street Grant has probably been around the longest. It's been around certainly in all of my service as a council member and as mayor. It's expanded in some ways on Great Street corridors, on other corridors. I think the genesis of the Great Street Grants were to make businesses look better, get more uniformity along corridors. It's expanded to include how we expand services and offerings in those retailers, and how retailers can adapt to a customer base that may be changing and may have different needs. So we think those grants have worked well. We've seen just a complete explosion, if you will, of made in DC products. And I think that's helpful, so that we are certainly an economy that is an information-based economy in some ways, but we make things here. And we need the government to partner with businesses to get that word out, that you can be a maker, a manufacturer, a creative, and have customers in Washington, D.C., so that's important. We also learned that when there are more tumultuous times that we saw during COVID, that the government was a bridge partner to help our businesses get from one side of the crisis to the next. So we learned a lot about how we can support businesses.
And Mayor, off topic, I'd like to get your response on Trey on White. We had the council, they released their ad hoc committee report, and it found, quote, substantial evidence that he broke council and city government rules stemming from his bribery charges. We'd like to get your response to that, and do you have any recommendations for the council going forward?
Well, this is what I'll say. I haven't completely read the report. I've obviously seen the headlines. And what I can say is that the process works. And when I was a member of the council, I wrote the legislation that created the Board of Ethics and Government Accountability, and the process that spells out how the council can proceed in investigating one of its own members. So from what I've seen at this point, the process has worked. Yes.
Mayor Bowser, could you expand on your comments regarding the Maryland delegation, RFK legislation, and the Key Bridge that you made recently to a private group?
I think it was reported in the paper, and I think my comments, I mean, they speak for themselves, I think. I said a lot of things, not just what was reported out, but here's what I want everybody to know. In the legislative process, there are twists and turns, there are negotiations, and we believe that the parties are negotiating in good faith, and now it's time to move the legislation. It's time to move the legislation. It's time to move the legislation. So that's my comment.
I get that, but do you believe that the Maryland delegation is putting up yet another roadblock? And regarding the Key Bridge, I mean, Can you tell us what you told the group? You know, none of the cameras were there last night.
Sure. What I told the group was that RFK should move on its own and not be connected to anything, any unrelated piece of legislation. Now, let me be clear. Everybody in their right mind supports funding for a very important bridge, not just for Maryland, but for the entire East Coast and for anybody who wants goods and services. So I think that I can't imagine that that is a question moving forward.
And could we ask Councilmember McDuffie a question, please? Councilmember, you're heading the ad hoc committee. I have two questions. What is your takeaway? What would be your recommendations to your colleagues after having read this report? And will Monday's hearing be open to the public, or will you once again vote to exclude the public from these deliberations?
On the first part of your question, Mark, I'm not prepared to tell you what my recommendation is. I have not had the opportunity yet to speak with all of my colleagues about the report. It was just released yesterday. And so I'm not prepared to tell you how I'm thinking about the recommendation. I really want to hear from others. Obviously, I've been knee-deep in this investigation over the course of almost 90 days. And I have lots of thoughts, which I'm going to reserve until I've had the opportunity to speak with colleagues about it. On the other part of your question, it is going to be open. It is a process, as the mayor said, I think that works. It's slightly different than some of the processes in the past, but this is designed to be open and transparent to the extent it does not compromise the investigation. And I think heretofore, you've seen I've seen a really thorough investigation that I think has protected the integrity both of the council and of the investigation. Looking forward to it reaching a conclusion at some point, as I know the public is as well.
Would you be willing now to talk about just the hurdles or the logistics that the council has to consider, that if they are considering to expel him, that he was just reelected, he'll be sworn back in January 2nd. If you were to expel him, my understanding is that his lawyers have indicated he would run in a special election and likely win. Can you just talk about that component of these deliberations, these considerations of what to do next?
As much as I would like to engage in that conversation, I don't think it's appropriate for me to have that conversation right now, only because the process has not played out yet. And as you know, as I put in my statement, we have the council and the ad hoc committee has a meeting on Monday, and I think you'll probably get some answers to some of those questions on Monday, and others will be answered at a later date. But I don't want to preempt a very important process at this point, Mark. I appreciate the question, but I don't think it's appropriate for me to comment on that just yet.
But you're confident in the findings?
I'm confident in the investigation and the report that was produced. I think I'll answer it that way. A lot has gone into it. Obviously, there's been a lot that's been reported on publicly about the indictment and the charge. We really put a lot of effort, the law firm, and I want to, Latham & Watkins, put a lot of time into interviewing witnesses. And as you'll read in the report, and I encourage people who are interested in this to take the time to read the report, you'll see that we tried to not leave any stones unturned. And so I am confident in the findings in the report.
And Muriel Carbone at DC News Now. While you're, sorry, on topic first, I'll start with the mayor. Just specific to the timing of the grants here, I know that we're at the end of the year, so we're seeing a lot of maybe some of the major companies doing layoffs and cutting back as they look to next year across the country. So here, DC is investing in small businesses. Can you talk about the significance of putting that funding in to ensure jobs stay local and businesses can continue?
Sure. So, thank you for that question, because we make this decision and we prioritize this spending, not because we have an unlimited amount of funds to spend, but we decided that in FY25, we're prioritizing taxpayer spending on public safety, public schools, and revitalizing the downtown and our commercial corridors. And so we see that as very important to having and heating up our economy, maintaining our jobs, attracting more investment as we see the economy improve nationally. We're hopeful of that, and attracting more jobs to the district. That's important. I testified at the Congress earlier with Chairman Mendelson and the district's chief financial officer. So when we are facing financial headwinds from one sector, commercial property, for example, we have to decide how we are going to maintain the services and the quality of life that we love. And one of the ways that we do that is by growing. And so economic development, creating more jobs, creating more activity, attracting more businesses. Because if we don't do that, you know where we have to go? We have to go back to you and say, can you give us more money by way of taxes? So that's not the way we approach running the government. We want to grow, and we want to streamline our spending so that we don't have to ask for more in the way of taxes.
And then I just have one more question for Councilmember McDuffie. I know that you guys have the ad hoc meeting on Monday. Do you perceive or do you expect more meetings next month in the future? Or is this kind of the end of that committee?
I think it's a great question, and as a really seasoned journalist, you're already looking around corners in terms of what the process is. It is possible that there could be future meetings on this topic, but I think that really is dependent on what occurs between now and then. I think what I said in my statement that I released is that the ad hoc committee's investigators offered the council member an opportunity to meet, and he declined 2 offers to meet. We, in a letter yesterday, reached out to his counsel and offered a 3rd opportunity for him to meet with the ad hoc committee, and we're waiting to get a response from him on that. And so it's really difficult for me to ascertain whether or not this is going to play out into, or how many meetings subsequent to what happens on Monday there will be, but it is likely to go into the next council period.
Councilmember, could you clarify for us just the procedure? It's my understanding that the Councilmember White has now 30 days to respond to the report. Is your committee able to take any action before that 30 days, or are you required to wait for his answer to that 30-day period before you're able to take any action?
Yeah, I believe, Mark, what you're referring to is a 30-day period that runs after what happens on Monday. That meeting of the ad hoc committee on Monday depends on whether or not there are recommendations made. Well, there will be recommendations made, and it depends on what they are. And I don't know what they are, just to be clear. I've not talked to members of the council yet to understand whether or not they've had an opportunity to read and digest and comprehend what the report says. But Monday's meeting of the ad hoc committee should really provide a little more clarity to the public and to you all about what's going to happen subsequent to that meeting. That meeting is designed to take up the report and for us to make a recommendation, which, as you all know, is spelled out in the council's rules. Once the chairman established the ad hoc committee, we had 90 days to conduct the investigation and offer recommendations in the report.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.